everyone. Good morning, the authors and invited guests. Welcome to Technical Session 5P. Myself, Ishita Saurya, and this session will be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GR Scholastic LLP, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 8th World Conference on Smart Trends in Systems, Security, and Sustainability, WS4 2024. The 8th edition of the conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event was organized yesterday in London, UK, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom from tomorrow, 24th to 26th of July 2024. I hope you will all enjoy the knowledgeable interactive sessions through the day. In this session, we have 6 presentations. Each presenter will be given 12 minutes for the presentation and 3 minutes for question and answer. On 10 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder. There's another request to all the participants that you all stay connected with us till the closing remarks. If you have any query or update, then you can write it to me in the chat box. Just before we get started, I would like to introduce you all to the chair for this session. We have with us Dr. Meenakshi Sumitarya. Dr. Meenakshi Sumitarya is an experienced research expert with a notable background in the field of artificial intelligence and deep learning, possessing a diverse skill set, skilled in machine learning, big data analytics, algorithms, data structures, and C++ programming. With a PhD focus in computer science and engineering, established an educational foundation. We welcome you, ma'am. We also have with us Professor Kunihiko Takamatsu, Professor of Institution Management in the Office of Strategy and Planning at Tokyo Institute of Technology. His main work focuses on institutional research in the university and university reform in higher education through edu-informatics. We welcome you, sir.
Oh.
We'll be starting with the papers. Sir, we have a third presenter. Will you allow him to present first?
Yeah, we can go into this.
Okay. I'd like to invite paper presenter Godfred with the paper titled Evaluation of the Level of Sustainability in IT Projects Using the Sustainable Project Management Maturity Model, SPM3, the case of a telco in Ghana. Sir, you may start with your presentation.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me share my slide.
Sure, sir.
Please, can you see it?
Yes, sir, it is visible. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm presenting on evaluation of the level of sustainability in IT projects using the Sustainable Project Management Maturity Model, SPM3. And I'm using a telco in Ghana as the case. These are my co-authors, and I'm presenting on their behalf. So what is sustainability? Sustainability has to do with managing current resources responsibly by balancing financial, social, and environmental considerations. So these are the 3 considerations that are balanced whilst you are managing resources responsibly to preserve resources for the future. So we're looking into the future. We have resources today, and we trying to balance these resources in terms of the finances, the social, and then environmental considerations, so that we can preserve them for future use. And we saying that sustainability in terms of project management or in any other field can be measured, but specifically for project management, we are looking at the SPM3, and we are looking at 4 levels: the compliance, the reactive, the proactive, and then the purpose. So we are saying that for any organization, if you want to measure their sustainability in terms of project management, we are looking at 4 levels. The compliance is the first level, the purpose is the 4th level, and the purpose, the 4th level, is the best. Compliance is not the best. That is the first level, it's not the best. So in between, we have the reactive and then proactive. Compliance is just adhering to legal requirements on project sustainability. Reactive is just addressing negative project sustainability concerns. So they will never do anything unless maybe there is an issue, then they quickly go in and then address it. Proactive is explicitly prioritizing sustainability. And then the purpose is strongly emphasizing sustainability and integrating it into the project's rationale. Then we come to the objectives. So the objectives of this work of this paper is to assess perceptions of the aspects. We have five in number, 5 aspects of sustainability, and it's taken from Saviors et al. 2013, their definition, and they defined sustainability in terms of 5 aspects. You look at them. So we are looking at the perceptions of the IT project managers in the company or in the telco X, how they look at it. And then we also is to measure the current level of sustainability in the telco, and then identify areas for improvement according to the model that we are using, SPM3 model, and then also to provide recommendations for enhancing sustainability. So the methodology, we're looking at quantitative Likert scale, which has to do with 1 least important and then 5 most important, especially for the first objective, which we looks at the aspects of the definition. The sample size, we looked at 15 IT project professionals of Telco X. In fact, I looked at all of them. I took all of them because they were 15. So I made sure I covered everything. And then the data is still Likert scale. I use Google Forms and sent it to them to fill the form. And then at the analysis, I use descriptive statistics, correlation analysis, etc. And then the results, these are the results and discussion. I realized that Telco X is at level 3, that is proactive on the SPM3. So if you look at all the activities, the project management activities is at level 3. That is proactive on the SPM3. And then when you look at the first objective, I also realized that most important aspects for sustainability in Telco X is meeting current needs, environmental dimension, and then social dimension. And then the areas needing improvement are the economic dimension, and then allowing for future generations to meet their needs. These are the areas that need improvement. And then correlation analysis, I also find that future generation and then the social dimension has strongest correlation of 0.626, and then the economic dimension and then the environmental dimension also had correlation of 0.58. So these are some kind of details. So if you look at the 5 items that we measured, you realize that the social dimension, environmental dimension, and then the meeting current needs, MC and meeting current needs, they were the most important items for Telco X. So for Telco X, meeting current needs is critical, and then social dimension is critical, and then the environmental dimension is critical. You realize that the future generation and then the economic dimension didn't, they were not so much of importance to them. They were moderately important. They were not so much important when it comes to the most important. That is why in the results, I said that the economic dimension and then the allowing for future generations to meet their needs improvement. And then if you look at this table, you also realize that these 5 items, all of them have a mean of 4 point something, median around 4, and then the mode to around 4. That means that all of them are hovering around what do you call it? Most important. Yes, and then we have conclusions and recommendations. Conclusions, we are saying that Telco X has a proactive approach to sustainability because the median value for all 19 items, when you take the SPM3, you have 19 items. For items for economic dimension, 7 for the environmental dimension, and 8 for the social dimension. When you put all of them together, it's 19. And we are saying that the median value for all this is what? 3. That means they have what? Proactive approach. And we are saying that the meeting current needs and environmental dimension and social dimension were the top 3 critical aspects for IT project sustainability, taking the definition of sustainability in consideration. That's what we have already talked about. And significance of the social dimension leading other dimensions was also realized. Then recommendations, we recommended that they improve areas rated as compliant. That is the first one, rated as compliant. So environmental dimension, when it comes to materials, energy, water, waste, project reporting, these were the areas that the 15 IT project managers rated as compliant. It means that they were not so good when it comes to materials. So it means that they need materials to work. Energy is a problem, especially for batteries and other things, a problem. Water is also a problem. Waste is a problem. Project reporting is also a problem. And then we also realized that the social dimension, which has to do with labor practices and decent work, human rights, project reporting, they were all problem items that the respondents rated as what? Compliant. That is the first, what they call it, level. It means that there were issues, real issues that they were dealing with, and they needed to be changed in order for the sustainability to be enhanced. So these are recommendations that they should look at these areas. And then further research, I'm just thinking about comparative studies between telcos or industries, and then qualitative analysis to supplement the quantitative research. Qualitative here means that we will go and do real life interviews and then focus discussions and other things to come out with what actually the people are saying, rather than maybe sending questionnaires and then coding them and then making it quantitative. Then future directions also have to do with encourage integration of sustainability in IT projects and continuous improvement. It is very, very important, because we've realized that for Telco X, and in Ghana, Telco X is one of the leading telcos, and for them to have problems with materials, energy, water, waste, project reporting, and then social dimension items like labor practices, decent work, human rights, and all those things. It means that they really need improvement, and that should also speak to the other telcos who are not even up there. That means that they will have real issues over there. So I'm thinking of a comparative study between the telcos to determine. For Telco S, we've realized that they are the proactive approach, and proactive simply means that they are explicitly prioritizing sustainability. It means that they are actually prioritizing it, just that they've not gotten to the point where they emphasize it. They actually strongly emphasize it, like the level 4, which is what? The purpose. So that's, thank you very much. Dan. Hello.
Thank you, sir. The session chairs, would you like to ask any question?
Thank you, Bash. Anybody do you have any questions?
Dr. Godfred, sorry, please go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I just had a couple of observations, or maybe, do you think a sample size of 15 people that you have taken as a case study is sufficient enough for us to come to conclusions when today we are talking about large language models, having so much of data that so as to corroborate your observations? So What was the reason for just picking up a very scanty sample size of 15 people? Is there a specific reason to that?
So you're talking about the sample size, right?
Yeah.
If I heard you, yes. The actually the number of people at that level who are into IT project management that I could lay hold on were 15. In fact, others in the project space, in the IT project space, we have other people, but I realized that they were not so much into project management. It's like they were part of the setup, but they were not so much into it. So I actually went in for the 15 people. That is how come I did. I
Yeah.
chose the 15.
Okay. Thank you so very much. Mr. Lawrence, you have a question, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Moni. I just have a question to the presenter. I'm interested in knowing the sampling technique that the presenter used to select those IT projects. And maybe on that, you can also add by indicating the areas or the companies that he collected data from. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, like I said earlier, this one is not sustainability in all aspects. I'm talking about IT project sustainability. So I went straight into the IT project space. In fact, we have for Telco X, they have what they call it, PMO. PMO is Project Management Office. So they have PMO, and it's a centralized what they call it setup where they deal with the projects of the whole company. So any department that wants to embark on a project would have to go to that office, and everything is generated and everything is done from that end. They have project managers, they have program managers. So I just went straight to that place. So it's like a targeted sort of sampling. It's not just talking to, I didn't want to talk to people or interview people or give my questionnaires to people who have no idea about what I'm doing, even though they may find themselves in the IT project space. So I went in for the IT project managers and then program managers who are actually doing the work day to day at this. You'll be able to get the right information from them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We'll be proceeding with the next paper presenter. I'd like to invite
Thank you
paper
very much.
presenter. Yes, sir. I'd like to invite next paper presenter Pagsila with the paper titled Acceptance Analysis of CRM System Adoption with Technology Acceptance Model TAM3 using Structural Equation Modeling SEM, a case study. Ma'am, if you're here, then you may start with your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Can I share my PPT?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, can I start it?
Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Okay, good morning for everyone. My name is Pagsila Khairani, and today I want to present about acceptance analysis system adoption with technology acceptance model 3 using structural equation modeling. Okay, the background of this study is we know that today the business environment has undergone significant changes and rapid development. This has led to increased the market competition and increased the customer expectation to the company. And therefore, to improve business performance, company needs a system that can effectively support resource planning in all existing business processes. and namely is customer relationship management. Many of companies have begun implementing the CRM system to streamline their business process and customer coverage. And companies expect that by implementation, this system will receive and utilize effectively and can providing benefit for all the employees. But the success of an information system in the company depend on how the system is implemented, ease of use, and utilization of the technology used. If the user acceptance is lacking, users may be reluctant to use the system, and this may not be balanced with the use of an effective and reliable CRM system. The strongest factors that influencing the user's acceptance of technology adoption are perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use, and which can ultimately lead to the positive attitude that can foster interest in use as seen from the actual system usage. So based on that, it's really necessary to the company to identify the causes and determinant of the user behavior toward the acceptance of information technology system by the company to ensure that significant investment that have been made in the company really can provide benefit and add value to the company. And for that, we can using a model that we call technology acceptance model 3. Okay, the next is we will discuss about the result and evaluation that carry out in this study. Population in this study were system users at a company engaged in data communication, internet, and IT service. The sampling technique that used in this study was purposive sampling. And for this study, the individual selected were employees who used the CRM system in their daily work because this is intended to gain a deep understanding of the user perception and experience in the context of using information system technology, namely CRM. And the data collection in the study used an online questionnaire distribution method using Google Form. And at the stage of filling out the questionnaire, and the respondent will be asked to choose the answer that have been provided by using Likert scale. And then the data processing and analysis using the structural equation modeling method using Smart PLS tool. Okay, in the structural equation modeling, there are two stages of measurement model evaluation, namely outer model and inner model. And we also do hypothesis testing. The outer model is also known as measurement model. It explains the relationship between the indicators and the latent contracts, which aim to evaluate the validity and durability of the measured contracts. And we can see that from the value of the outer loading and average variance and composite reliability. Okay, as we can see on the screen, this is the result of the outer loading. And based on data that we have, all of the outer loading from the indicator is more than 0.6, which is mean that this indicator has a good convergent validity. And the next is based on data that we got too, the average variance for all the variable that we use in this study is greater than 0.5, which is meant that this indicator have a good convergent validity. And the next is, as we can see on the screen too, based on data that composite reliability value for all the variable that used in the study is more than 0.7, is that which that's mean that this variable is reliable. So if all indicators are valid and reliable, it's mean that the measurement model use the measurement model use is strong, and this can provide that the result of the result based on this model are accurate and representative. So the next one is the inner model. This is also known as the structural equation, the structural model. It's explained the relationship between the latent contract themselves, which aim to evaluate the strength and the direction of the relationship between the variables. And we can see that from the R-square value. And if the R-square value it's about 0.75, it's model strong. And if 0.50, it's moderate. And if 0.25, it's weak. Based on data that we have, this is the R-square of the image variable is about 0.328. This is show that subjective norm giving influence to image variable, it's about 32.8%. That's mean that is fall to weak category. And the next is the R-square from the perceived usefulness is 0.89997. That would show that the variable subjective norm, image, job relevant, output quality, result demonstration, and experience give influence to perceived usefulness. It's about 89%, 89.7%. That was meant that is fall to strong category. And the next is the R-square from perceived is obvious is about 0.735. That was meant that computer self-efficacy, perception of external control, computer anxiety, computer playfulness, and perceived enjoyment and object usability give influence to perceived is obvious about 73.5%, 73.5% that was fall to moderate category. And the next is the R-square of the behavioral intention is 0.809. That was show that the perceived usefulness and perceived is obvious give influence to behavioral intention. It's about 80.9%. That was fall to strong category. And the last one is the R-square from the use behavior is 0.676. This is show that behavioral intention variable has influence to use behavior about 67.6. That mean is fall to moderate category. Okay, now we move to hypothesis testing, and this is the pictures of the hypothesis development both based on technology acceptance model 3. And there is 19 hypotheses that will be tested to see and determine whether the hypothesized relationship between the variable in the model are supported by data by evaluating the statistical significance of the relationship. Okay, based on the data that we got, there is 14 hypotheses that rejected and about 5 hypotheses that were accepted. And from that, we can know the factors that can influencing the acceptance of CRM adoption using term 3 method are: the first one is subjective norm, the second one is job relevant, and the next one is perceived is obvious, and the last one is behavioral tension. Okay, maybe I would like to say thank you for all your attention and interest in my presentation, and I hope this is can give providing valuable insight, and thank you so much.
Thank you for your presentation. Do you have any questions? No? So I have a question. In your research, you said that there are 4 important things about the adaptation with technology acceptance. The last slide, can you Can you show the last slide?
Okay, okay.
One before, yeah. So
This one?
subjective and job relevant and
Yeah.
ease of use and behavioral intention. And so you want said that it is important to think about the these 4 items to introduce the technology to company or industry. Is it right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you have some plan? So how the new companies introduce these so the technology? So how do you think some idea the so well, 4 items is important, but usually it is important to these items at once. So do you have any order or something?
Okay, based on my research, actually this is the result, and why is this is the important things, because based on my research that most the employee feel that feeling encouraged and got influence from other can give their effect to desire and use the CRM. That's why the subjective norms is become the important thing to the companies uh, to 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 giving about information the system. And about the job relevance, based on my research too, most of the employees say that they argue that CRM system is related to their job, so it can provide a benefit and use when they completing their task, and this is very give a benefit for them. And why the perceive is obvious is the important, because they believe that CRM system is easy to understand and easy to use during the work. That's why they think that it can increase the benefit and increasing the attention or desire to use the system. And this is a very important to the company to give a system that that easy to understand by the users. And the last is behavioral attention, because they believe that the attention or desire to use the system really can give influence to them and give effect to average usage while then performing their tasks. Okay.
So you said the workers have to feel that it is too easy to use the system. It is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah,
Well, thank you
because
very much.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you,
Or
sir.
any other, do you have any other question?
No, we are good. I think we can move on to the next presenter.
Okay, so please, next presenter.
Sure, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We'll be proceeding with our next presentation. I'd like to invite paper presenter Polinathi Vinod Babu with the paper titled Automating Fantasy Cricket Team Formation, an Iterative Model Approach. So if you hear them, you may start with your presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Please give the. This is okay, sir?
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yes, sir. So here the title of the work is Automating Fantasy Cricket Team Formation and Iterative Model. So nowadays the cricket is very famous in each and every country. So especially in India also the cricket is most famous. And here I am going to talk about not about the cricket, but it is about the fantasy cricket. So it is based on the cricket that is played by the uh, real cricket matches. Here the fantasy cricket where the players are gathered to form a team, and then these teams are competing for each other in a league. So these leagues are conducted by the different organizers. So here the fancy cricketers usually facing the difficulty when the lines are announced from the time to the closing of the lines. Means usually the in real cricket, who are going to play will be announced after the toss is happened. So after the toss is happened only, the captain of the team will announce the list of players will going to play. So likewise, both teams will announce the list of players. So from that players, here the fancy cricketer has to select the 11 players. For example, there is a match between Sri Lanka and India. From India, there are 11 players are playing. Similarly, Sri Lanka, 11 players are playing. In fancy cricket, the fancy cricket user has to select 11 players from the 22 players. So generally, these 22 players will be known at after the toss. And when the match is started, these fantasy league organizers will close the formation of the team. There is a, only 20 minutes to 30 minutes of time in between the toss and the closing of the these team formation. So usually, if you want to select 11 members from the 22, he's a big number. It is very difficult to cricket. It is very difficult to create the team also. So here for that, to overcome that difficulty, we have taken the initiation to automate this team formation, and we have developed an iterative method. So that is about the fancy cricket. And also, while selecting various categories of the players also available, for example, wicket keepers, batsmen, bowlers, and all-rounders. So here the league organizers are conducting the public leagues as well as the private leagues. So in private leagues, there is no need to pay any fee to compete in the leagues. Whereas coming to public leagues, there is a small charge to participate into that leagues, where the fantasy users participate to score as maximum as possible among the all the fantasy users. So to get as many as score, so we need to select the players who will perform well in that particular match. So here the problem is everyone selecting the players from the 22, but there is no linear or non-linear approaches. They are simply selecting the players randomly and creating the teams. But because of this randomness also, sometimes teams may perform well or may not perform well. But here we followed a data-driven approach to enhance the team formation and also predicting the performance of those teams. So various papers that are already been worked on this area, they are mainly concentrating on how to form the teams. Usually they are using some of the algorithms according to their domain specific knowledge, and also some cricket analytics. Some cricketers, those who are experts in the maybe cricket, they may be selecting the players. So that is generally happening in the existing system, but there is no user-centric analysis and implementation of the fancy creating the fancy cricket teams in the game of fancy cricket. So here, this is the methodology where we are applying for this analysis. So here the first point is initial team formation based on the predefined characteristics. These league organizers having the some conditions. Based on those conditions, the fantasy user has to create the teams. That is the first point. So after creating that one team, they can able to create up to 10 teams or 20 teams by changing the players, so that the diversity will be taken place in those teams, and the performance of those teams may be varies. So that is the reason here I took the variation operation and rotation operation. Generally, the variation operation to explore different team configurations. For example, if we are looking at this particular table, so in the this particular column, so I selected 11 players among these 22 players, and each player having the weight. I am doing I am sum up all these players and I got 99. That is one of the restriction imposed by the league organizer. Here the sum of 11 players also should be less than 100. So each player weightage will be varied by the league organizers depending on the current series performance or past series performance. So that is the point here. So likewise, I created the 9 teams here. So this is the first team. What is the variation between the first team and the second team is here in the first team. So here yellow color cells representing that here there is no player with the name DDS, but the player with IUN is playing. These are the names of the players. This row, this column representing the names of the players. So likewise, here there is no DDS, but there is a player DSK is playing. Like that, there is a variation between one team and other team. When we are summing up these two teams and their players' performance, definitely there is a different value between, there is a different value based on the performance of the players. So likewise, in each team, I am creating the, I am using this variation operation to create the diversity. That is the second point in the algorithm. So now coming to the rotation operation. So here the rotation operation is to maximize the team performance. For example, if you are looking at the rotation operation, this is the first configuration I have done using the variation operation. Whereas coming to the, this is the second configuration where I have done the rotation. So for example, if you are observing the green color cells, for example, LRL, this is the player name. So this player is, okay, here in configuration 1, he was there, but while coming to here, he was not there. Okay, instead of him, I am pick one more player, that is WSD. So likewise, to maximize the team performance, okay, so I am going with the rotation operation by using these two operations, and if I am creating the teams, okay, so and I am participating with those teams in the leagues, my teams outperforms the user created teams. So with that results, I published the I submitted this work to the WS4 2024. So if you are observing the results, so this was implemented during the match between second T20 international match between India and Sri Lanka 2020. So data was collected from the league organizers, and that league organizer only providing all the statistics related to the players as well as the past performance also. So by that league organizer only I am collecting the data, and I am trying to use this iterative model to create the teams. So before starting the match, I created the teams, and after the match is completed, I am assessing the teams based on the original performance of the players in the real match. So that is about the result. Here the performance metrics and comparison with manually created teams. And finally, I used the detailed scoring system used for evaluation. That also we can shown in the slides. So here the fancy cricket points system. In a real game, if a player scores 10 runs, in fancy cricket, 10 into 0.5 means 5 points are awarded to that particular player who selected him. So likewise, the fancy cricket user selecting the 11 players out of the 22. So within the short duration, let's say 20 minutes to 30 minutes, it is very difficult to form the team and compete in the leagues. So this difficulty was faced by the fancy cricket users. So to overcome that difficulty, this method was proposed, and I used this fancy cricket point systems to evaluate. So these are the batting category points. So if a player, a real player, let's say hit the 4 boundary, maybe 0.5 points will be awarded for the fantasy user. So similarly, for each and every real game metrics, there is an equivalent fantasy cricket point system. That mapping has to be done by the league organizer only. So after that, if the league organizer, after completing the match, he was providing the fantasy cricket scorecard based on the real player performance in the actual game. Based on the real performance in the actual game, fantasy organizer, for the fantasy users, for their teams, he awarding the points. Whoever earns maximum points, he is the topper of the league, and he will be awarded with some maybe money or some maybe awarded as the winner of that league. So likewise, the fantasy organizers are creating the competition between the fantasy users. So this is the fantasy cricket score. For example, there is a match between India and the Sri Lanka. Here, the first player is the Indian player, and the category of the player is also bowler. And the position where he was in the list is 8th position, and the name of the player is STK. Here, used the only
12 minutes. So go to the result.
Yes.
Speedy.
Yes, sir. So after that, we have done the comparative analysis of the dream team points of the players and the practical team points. So practical team points of the teams are our teams that are top from the created teams. Dream team points are the points of the top 11 players from that particular match. So this is the comparative analysis of the fancy cricket dream team points of the player as well as the practical team points of the players. So if you are looking at the diagram here, this is the player who got 73 points. That is he is in the dream team, but he was not selected by any one of the teams that are in the practical team points. So that is the one of the drawback. We are trying to, what I mean to say here, in my practical team, I got the 27. This is the difference between the 27 and the 73 and the 27 is the error. In my future scope, in future work, I am trying to reduce this error by selecting either this particular player based on the past performance or current statistics, or I am trying to maximize of the performance of this particular player.
Sir, I'm really sorry to interrupt you in the middle, but I'd like to remind you of the time limit.
Yes, yes. So finally, the conclusion of this work is adaptable nature of iterative model and its strong testing through real-time simulations shows that it can be a valuable tool for fantasy cricket players and strategists looking to improve their decision making. So these are the various references that are referred while working for this proposal. And I should say thanks to my supervisor, Dr. MVP Chandrasekhar Rao, and I should say thanks to session chairs for presenting this opportunity, and also to the moderator. With this, I am stopping my presentation.
Thank you very much. There is no time, so I'm quickly asking to you that do you have did you perform the exotic so the you all against all search against to against the parameter, is it right?
Sorry.
No. So did you tuning the parameter? So do you calculate the matrix of the all against all?
Yes, sir. This is the accuracy of the teams. Dream team accuracy is 100% because this is calculated after the match. So while coming to these are the teams created by the various users as well as the top performing team from the teams created by my work, iterative model. So
yes,
here,
thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So that go to next presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll be proceeding with our next paper presenter. I'd like to ask for stereos for with the paper titled From Unified Ontology to Knowledge Base, Data Fusion for Enhanced Wildfire Management. Sir, you may start with your presentation.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
May I share my screen?
Sure.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it is visible. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So good morning, everyone. I'm Stelios Kondogiannis, working at Catalink Limited and as a knowledge graph engineer. And today I will be presenting our paper titled From Unified Ontology to Knowledge-Based Data Fusion and Enhanced Wildfire Management, which is co-authored by Simone Martin Marotta, Vincenzo Masucci from Expert AI, and Konstantinos Avgerinakis from Catalink. We will start with the motivation and the goals of our research. Next, we will cover how we developed the ontology. We will discuss the applications of our ontology in the Sylvanus system. The next part will show the visual structure of our semantic knowledge base, highlighting key modules and their connections. We are also going to explain the ontology population framework called Caspar and refer to semantic mapping. And finally, we will go over the reasoning schemes employed in our system and discuss potential future directions of our work. Our project, Sylvanus, is part of the Horizon 2020 Green Deal program. It is a massive project with consortium of 49 partners along Europe, Brazil, Indonesia, and Australia. It aims to develop an integrated technological and information platform specifically designed for wildfire management. The goal of Sylvanus is to create a climate-resilient forest management platform that can prevent and suppress forest fires. Our approach leverages semantic technologies to accurately depict wildfire threats, and more specifically, we're focused on developing a unified ontology and knowledge base to enhance data integration and interpretation, which we believe will significantly improve decision-making processes in the wildfire management. We start with the ontology creation, which is a critical part of our work. Protégé was the tool used for developing our custom ontology. The process started with conducting relevant research to identify essential ontology classes, semantic concepts, and relationships. Multiple relevant ontologies were then integrated to ensure comprehensive coverage of wildfire-related knowledge. We also extracted relevant concepts from operational scenarios and existing deliverables. These concepts were then categorized, focusing on key areas such as fire cause, biodiversity, and climate. You can see in this slide a table of some of the concepts we identified and categorized from different countries, including France, Italy, and Romania. Unified classes for similar concepts were created in order to standardize terminology and structure. This involved consolidating various instances, such as IoT devices, UAVs, UGVs, cameras, into single coherent classes. We integrated multiple relevant ontologies to ensure comprehensive coverage of wildfire knowledge. The two figures here are examples of the class definitions and how various climate parameters are categorized, and an example of object type properties taken by Protégé. Regarding the integration, we reviewed and analyzed relevant ontologies such as the Be Aware ontology for crisis management. This helped us to ensure that we were covering all necessary aspects. Next, we identified and selected concepts that were essential, avoiding unnecessary complexity, and maintain control over what went into the Sylvanus ontology. In terms of development, we customized the ontology by incorporating only the relevant entities from these external sources. And For interoperability, we ensured that our ontology could work well with other knowledge bases and by maintaining loose connections between different models. Here in the figure, you can see an example of this, integrating the location class from the BeAware ontology into ours using the see also property, showing how we managed to link and enhance the information. Now about the semantic data fusion within the Sylvanus project. The idea here is to integrate diverse data sources into a single semantic model using the Sylvanus ontology we described previously. And we named it a semantic knowledge base, or SEMKB. This allows us to have a unified view of as much as possible data, which is crucial for effective wildfire management. We're pulling data from various IoT devices, such as fire smoke detection devices. One of these is shown in the figure. It is continuously feeding real-time data into our system. One of the key aspects of this project is the continuous update of the SEMKB with instance data. This means our knowledge base is always evolving, reflecting the latest information and allowing us to make better and more informed decisions. Here is the grammatic representation of the system. Starting from the left, we have our data sources. In this case, we are using two types of devices. The data from these sources is then processed through the Caspar framework, which handles the ontology population. This means that it helps to populate our ontology with the relevant data, making sure that everything is structured and categorized correctly. The ontology itself is crucial because it provides the structure and definitions needed for the data to be meaningful. And from there, everything is stored into OntoText GraphDB, which allows us to manage and query the data effectively. Finally, the processed and structured data can give better integrated insights and potentially trigger alerts. This is a key part of our system. So I'm going now to describe the Caspar framework, which is developed by Catalink Limited. It is integral to our work since it is in charge of the ontology populations, as I said earlier. This framework's architecture is designed for modularity, flexibility, scalability, employing microservices and message brokers to ensure efficient operation. This diagram outlines the process of data retrieval, validation, transformation, and the population of low-level graphs in a semantic repository. Starting from the left, again, data acquisition connectors pull data from various sources. Once the data is collected, it moves through a series of steps for processing. The mapper handles semantic mapping, transforming raw data into a structured format that fits the ontology. Finally, the validated data is stored in the semantic repository. This repository is accessible via Sparkle endpoints, allowing us to query and retrieve the data. Throughout the process, of course, logs and event logs monitor the system, ensuring everything runs smoothly. Continuing with the implementation, here are the steps involved in our work. First, we identify the relevant data sources. This could include fire detection data, air quality data, and other critical information such as social media. Understanding what data is available and has value is the starting point. Next, we create a custom ontology. Here we are using the Sylvanus ontology as our base. Then we configure the Caspar settings. This involves choosing a triple store like GraphDB, where the semantic data will be stored and managed. With the setup complete, the next step is to create mappings. This means developing mappings for each data source, linking data fields to the appropriate ontology concepts. And following this, we connect the fields to the corresponding classes and properties in the ontology, making sure that all data is accurately presented. This mapping process will be described better in the next slide. So once the mappings are established, initiating mappers is the next step. These mappers automatically convert data into RDF, Resource Description Framework, which is the format we use, and populate the triple store. The triple store now holds all the semantic data ready for querying and further use. Now we'll take a deeper dive in the process of semantic mapping. On the left side, you can see a sample of fire smoke detection data. This raw data includes various details such as sensor type, timestamps, media URLs, fire probability, location. To integrate this into our knowledge base, we need to map it to our ontology. On the right side of the slide, you can see a part of the corresponding mapping, Caspar. This mapping process involves linking each field on the left to the appropriate class or property in our ontology. For instance, the sensor type, timestamps, and location are mapped to their respective ontology concepts, as you can see on the right, with the respective paths. Here, to make things a bit clearer, is a visualization after data is mapped. On the left, we have the different ontology classes that represent various aspects of our data, such as sensor types, location, etc. These classes form the structure of our ontology. And on the right, you can see an example of graph presentation of the mapped data. Each node represents a class instance, and the edges show the relationships between these nodes or with literals. For example, the Raspberry Pi example node is linked to the sensor type camera, the probability high, and the corresponding media file. Finally, we will talk about the semantic reasoning schemes and how we use them to gain knowledge from our data. The goal here is to answer complex questions by querying our knowledge base. For instance, we might want to retrieve observations from Greece where the fire probability is greater than 80%, or we might want to know something even more complex. For example, which locations in Austria have the highest number of fires detection in April, especially when air quality is considered poor. Also, this can be done. To do this, we use Sparkle queries. Sparkle is a powerful language for querying graphs. The example on this slide shows a Sparkle query that retrieves data related to fire detection. It selects various data points such as timestamp, location, fire probability. And the query filters the data to show only results from Greece with a high fire probability. The result is a table that lists the relevant data, making it easy for the user to see the information. By using this semantic reasoning schemes, we can extract even more valuable insights from our data and help to get more informed decisions for wildfire management. Regarding our future work and ongoing work of the project, one of our main goals is to build upon all this work previously described and design an alert generation framework. This involves combining the data ingested into the SMKB to produce alerts and make the knowledge more intuitive and understandable. We're planning to develop a map-based user interface to present this alert to stakeholders. And additionally, we aim to include the detailed information about detected conditions and their severity levels in the alerts. Another aspect is to enhance our data sources. For example, we can add social media data such as tweets reporting fire incidents. Expanding their sources will help us create a more comprehensive alert system. And regarding the alert system, we are also planning to create severity levels in alerts. For example, those we can see. Level 1 would indicate the lowest severity, concerning but not immediate dangerous, etc., etc. So these steps will help us improve the effectiveness and responsiveness of our wildfire management system. This includes my presentation. Thank you for your attendance. I will be happy for any question.
Thank you very much. I'm very interested in your presentation because our main thing is biology, and sometimes I create a new hypothesis using a network. So I have a question. Do you have already get the unexpected good knowledge, novel knowledge using this system?
Basically, Silvanus system is ongoing. We're in the last year of implementing the project, and this last year is the year of pilots. So maybe we will come back with another paper reporting all the results.
Oh,
hopefully.
I'm waiting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful presentation. So I just had a couple of questions now. The knowledge graphs that you have created, what are the kind of entities that you have looked at? Is there a hierarchy of ontology that you have followed, or like how many named entities are there, or what is the knowledge base that you have for creation of these knowledge graphs?
Okay. We have created, as previously said, an ontology. Just a moment. Go to
Yeah, I could see in your slide 2 or 3. That's I remember having seen.
So yes, basically we created the ontology, as I said previously, based on the data sources that we currently have regarding health monitoring at Raspberry Pi detections of fire and smoke incidents. And these incidents host instances of classes of our ontology, along with all the other data that the ontology hosts. All this is fed up in the knowledge base, and the system is scalable. That means that we can add further sources and modify appropriately the ontology.
Right. So have you kind of, thank you so much. Have you tried to, implement graph neural networks in the current structure, or are you planning to do like create your knowledge graphs for graph neural networks?
Yeah, that is something I personally have as a future plan to somehow integrate GNN here, but it is not in the scope of Sylvanus, basically. So yeah, we haven't tried it yet.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll be proceeding with the next paper presenter. I'd like to invite paper presenter Dominic Lammert with the paper titled, with the paper titled The Impact of Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, CSRD, on Software Companies, a Survey. Sir, if you're here, then you may start with your presentation.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Good day or good evening, depending where you are. 1 second, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So today, companies face the growing challenge not only achieving economic success, but also assuming sustainability in the context of ESG. It stands for environmental, social, and governance. And the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, or short CSRD, is an initiative of the European Union that aims to ensure that companies transparently disclose their sustainability efforts in annual reports. And it's important to mention it's not voluntarily, it's not mandatory, it needs to be done, it's obligatory and controlled by the Commission. So this survey study seeks to take a view on the perception of sustainability among software companies within the European Union, with a focus on their preparation status for the CSRD. Introduction. At the forefront of this transition, the regulatory initiatives aimed at enhancing transparency, accountability, and stakeholder engagement in sustainability reporting. As engines of innovation and enablers of digital transformation across diverse sectors, software companies occupy a unique position because software systems become more and more embedded in socioeconomic and natural systems, whereas the influence of those boundaries are not easy to identify. And our article explores the research question, what impact does the implementation of the CSRD have on the sustainability endeavors of software companies? And our aim is to promote interdisciplinary dialogue and the exchange of knowledge between science, industry, and politics to contribute in finding ways towards a more sustainable digital future. So as we can see here, the survey was conducted among 86 respondents from 19 countries in total. The survey could be completed for just over 2 weeks in April and beginning of May of this year. It was placed on major professional social networks, especially we put it in LinkedIn. And mailings were also sent out within our industry network, particularly from our university. Regarding company types, the survey categorized respondents based on their compliance timelines within the CSRD. Some companies need to write their reportings earlier, some later. But that does not mean that the other ones, the later ones from the later years, don't do that in an earlier time frame as well. For example, as we can see here, small and medium-sized companies could also start earlier than 2027 when it makes sense for them. For example, if their partners or any other stakeholders want that. So we asked about the perception of sustainability first within the software company, it's more general, and then later about the preparation for the CSRD. And as we can see here, the overall average score across dimensions was 3.0 when it comes to the indicating the engagement and awareness regarding sustainability. The statement that sustainability practices contribute to the long-term success of the software company was also rated average with 3.0. Whether more workload should be put into the topic of sustainability also achieved an average value of 2.9. So the respondents identified several main drivers for prioritizing sustainability with their software companies. We can see them here. And as we can see, market demand for sustainable software products and services was the top driver, selected by 48 respondents. That's more than a half. The statement as to whether the software company considers itself to be familiar with the content of the CSRD was answered in the negative with an average value of 2.0 that was achieved here. So the answer was, we disagree. We don't know enough about the CSRD. And in addition, the statement that the CSRD will have a positive impact on their own company is between neither agree nor disagree and disagree, so at 2.6. The survey also explored the measures software companies have taken or plan to take to comply with the CSRD requirements, which we can see here in this table. And the most common measure taken by more than a half, 51%, was developing a sustainability strategy. Introducing or updating reporting processes was another key measure undertaken by 34 respondents. That's 40%. There's also software coming out by IBM, Microsoft, but also startup companies about this, how to measure, for example, this the foot carbon print, the CO2 consumption, and so on. So there's a lot to be done here by software companies still. Training employees and sustainability practices was also very significant with 30 respondents, 35%, focusing on enhancing their workforce's sustainability knowledge and skills. When asked about the positive things, about the opportunities presented by the implementation of the CSRD, 34 respondents, it's 40%, saw the potential for more sustainable business policies. Also, increasing business transparency and improving public reputation were important for more than 1/3, 37%. And other opportunities included reduce costs and increase revenues by 20 respondents, that's 23%. Respondents also identified several challenges in implementing the CSRD in their software company, which we can see here. So these are the more negative sides. The most significant challenge noted by 57% was the potential for additional financial and personal costs towards this. Also, continuous changes in information and auditing standards were a concern for 31 respondents, 36%, while 20 respondents highlighted the underdeveloped network of auditors as a challenge. And here it's important to say that the European Union, the European Commission, does not have sent a full template on what needs to be done and what not, and how the ratings will look like. So it's still not ready. Also, who will control everything of that? Because at the end, there will be more than 50,000 companies that need to report. So the discussion, the perception of sustainability in general. In companies, different departments are responsible for sustainability. It could be the marketing, the HR, the product management, yeah, it's we recommend that ideally it would be that an interface position between all those departments takes the main responsibility for dealing with the CSRD. The market for companies that value sustainability and are willing to invest in it's likely to grow, driven by the increasing interconnection between financing, sustainability, and public interest. Efficiency gains through sustainability could lead to cost reductions. Efficiency strategies have the advantage that managers can demonstrate the amortization of costs far more easily than compared to consistency or sufficiency strategy. This suggests that many companies addressing this are at the beginning of their transformation. And the strategy of doing only the minimum necessary associated with the notion that sustainability is a cost burden and should therefore be minimized in a profit-oriented organization may be diminishing in importance. Image gains were not among the top responses. That was quite interesting. And this suggests that sustainability as a poorly marketing topic is losing traction. Preparation for the CSRD. Companies do not appear to be prepared for CSRD reporting right now. So it would be interesting to redo this survey once again in a year and do it more frequently. Software companies have identified possible additional financial and personal costs as the primary challenge in implementing the CSRD. It is estimated that each company will have to invest 100,000 euros annually to fulfill the requirements of the CSRD. These costs encompass various aspects of compliance, including the adoption of reporting systems, training of staff, and potential hiring of specialized personnel. So here, not only the big companies have to spend 100,000 euro annually, that will be more here, but the small and medium-sized companies as well. So for example, the cheapest software alone, only the software for measuring some things of IBM, for example, costs 2,500 euros per month. So that will be a big burden for the companies within the European Union. So we have also some limitations here, this construct validity. The survey questions may not be fully understood. So maybe the questionnaire does not do fully justice to the complexity of this topic. Internal validity as well. We may have a country-specific bias here. Germany and Finland together have more than 50% of all the participants. And maybe only those participants that were already interested in sustainability clicked on our survey. That may be a problem as well. External validity. The sample size is comparatively small. And here we can also imagine that there could be industry-specific circumstances that, for example, one industry sector puts more or less value towards the topic of sustainability than another one. Reliability, the surveys were conducted anonymously, but maybe 2 or more employees of one company could have completed the questionnaire. This could be an issue as well within our paper. So for the conclusion, the CSRD represents a significant shift from voluntary to mandatory reporting. Our study confirms that sustainability reporting is not yet firmly established within the software industry. This lack of preparedness is expected at this stage, as there has not been sufficient time to develop standardized practical audit procedures. So the companies will likely continue to search, to look for ways how to write all those reports. And future surveys should involve a larger number of software companies to allow for more detailed analysis, particularly by country and sector. So we see our paper as an initial overview about the current state of the CSRD implementation within the software companies. And additionally, qualitative studies such as interviews are essential to explore how software companies can be supported in addressing the challenges posed by the CSRD. And with that, thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Quickly, I have one question. How many percentage? What percentage? So that you investigate the 86 companies. The 86 companies. What percentage in the UK? You said a large number of companies there.
Yes, the UK is not in the European Union, so there was nobody from UK. But it could also be interesting because from the year 2029, every country that has a business or sells something within the European Union has to report as well. So it's also necessary that the UK will start to deal with those topics, but they still have some time left.
Thank you very much. So go to the last speaker.
Thank you, sir. We'll be proceeding with the last speaker for the session. I'd like to invite speaker Khangbeni with the paper titled "The Role of Traditional Leaders in Implementing Sustainable Smart Cities in Rural Municipalities." So if you're here, then you may start with your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Let me share the screen. Okay.
Sure, sir.
Share. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. Oops. Okay. Let me. Am I able to hide this? Okay. Okay, it's fine. Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon. Okay, my name is Nkangwen Lawrence Mashau. I wrote this paper with Prof. Jan Hendrik Cruz. The title of the paper is The Role of Traditional Leaders in Implementing Sustainable Smart Cities in Rural Municipalities. I will start with the introduction. When we look worldwide, most countries are engaging in the smart city initiatives to address their economic and service delivery challenges posed by the population rates. So in 2010, around 50% of the global population was residing in urban areas, of which this is expected to increase to 70% in the year 2025. The increase in the population presents challenges such as providing housing, health, education, wealth, security, as well as the transport for the citizen. These challenges affect the economy and service delivery negatively. Therefore, there is a need for a solution that will transform rural municipalities and minimize the movement of people from rural areas to urban areas to seek greener pasture. Some scholars suggested that rural municipalities can be transformed through the implementation of smart city. In other words, that means rural municipalities, they can implement smart city, and the smart city is not new globally. It has been around for more than 3 decades because it was coined or invented in 1991. Therefore, to implement smart city successful, rural municipalities must ensure that the main components are considered or addressed. In addition to that, the literature shows that rural municipality must engage key stakeholders from inception of smart city initiative to avoid any hiccups or challenges during the implementation phase, because any hiccups may lead to project failure, and that will exacerbate economic and service delivery issues. Then problem statement, we identified a problem as follows: that there is a lack of a paper that investigated the role of traditional leaders in implementing sustainable smart cities in rural areas, because we looked at the traditional leaders, that they are the custodian of the land in rural areas. Therefore, they must be engaged in order to implement sustainable smart city. Then I'll move to the literature. Then we started by defining what is a smart city concept. Then we realized that various scholars, they are defining this in different ways, and there is no consensus or agreement in the literature. Because Cilius et al., if you read, they defined a smart city as an inventive approach that transforms a city to manage its infrastructure effectively. And Mahesh et al. And Dison Mentia, they defined a smart city as a city that uses advanced technologies to allocate its resources. Just to highlight the few, I will list those definitions. Then in this study, we defined smart city as a digital integration of information system components to collect digital data and analyze it in real time in order to monitor and manage the city infrastructure and to allocate resources effectively, thereby improving service delivery and the quality of life of the citizens. Then again, we looked at sustainable development of rural municipalities. Then they underlines the significance of involving the community, managing local resources and having strategies that are focused specifically on rural municipalities. On the issue of the roles of leaders in community development, traditional leaders are seen as stakeholders that plays a crucial role in community development and governance in various spheres. Because they act as a mediator between local communities and formal state structures, your government, your national government, your local government, and district government, in order to promote social cohesion and ensure the buy-in of citizens on smart city development initiatives. Because without traditional leaders, sometimes it's a bit difficult to get buy-in from the citizens. And without citizen buy-in, then sometimes smart city implementation, it might remain as a pipe dream. Then again, we looked at the role of leaders in community development. We also looked at smart city initiatives that it is crucial to examine previous smart city initiatives because they can assist cities in avoiding the same mistakes made by other municipalities or cities when engaging in smart city project. And the smart city initiatives is when municipalities or cities engage in projects to transform its cities from a traditional city into a smart city. Then again, we looked at the research methodology. Then this study employed a qualitative research approach because of its suitability to understand complex problem. Then we used purposive sampling to select municipalities from 2 provinces. And why are we saying 2 provinces? Because we looked at the map, then we realized that those provinces that were selected, they have got good mix of small and rural municipalities. Then in terms of selecting participants, we started by using purposive sampling to select initial participants. Then after that, we employed snowball sampling to select more participants who had similar knowledge. And we used that for another reason, which was to avoid being biased as researchers. And we collected data using semi-structured interviews, and that exercise of collecting data happened between March and to September 2022. So we targeted participants, but unfortunately enough, we didn't reach to the targeted participants because we reached saturation earlier. In our study, saturation point, it was at participant number 14. Therefore, a total of 14 participants were interviewed from the selected municipalities, and those interviews took about 30 to 45 minutes. Then the results of this study, first, the participants were asked to identify key stakeholders in the implementation of smart cities. Therefore, interview respondents or participants indicated that traditional leaders are one of the stakeholders. Furthermore, they indicated that involving the traditional leaders may assist in alleviating resistance to change by community members, as I've indicated earlier, because they will see that the projects are not aimed at particular institution, but it is aimed for their own benefit. Again, the participants were asked why traditional leaders are regarded as one of the main stakeholders in the smart city implementation. Then the participants highlighted that traditional leaders are regarded as the main stakeholder because they are the ones who own and manage the land in the rural municipalities. Due to the ownership of the land, participants indicated that traditional leaders must be involved during the development of smart city in rural municipalities. Once again, the participants were asked to highlight the role that traditional leaders play in the implementation phase in rural municipalities. The interview data shows that traditional leader can play a significant role in implementing a smart city project successfully in rural municipalities by acting as a link or mediator between a municipality or municipality authorities and the citizen. Again, traditional leaders can explain the value that the citizen will get after implementing a smart city in their municipality. Then the last point that we just want to make is the interviewee, again, they indicated that the involvement of traditional leaders from the start in a smart city project will resolve issues like a land dispute in time to avoid any unnecessary delays or hiccups during the project. Then we concluded our study as follows. Then we said this study found that the traditional leaders must be involved in a smart city project from the onset because traditional leaders serve as a link between the citizen and the municipality and other participating stakeholders. Again, traditional leaders leadership is key in getting citizen buy-in. We highlighted that during the results, but this is the one of the findings that they are key in terms of getting buy-in of a citizen in a smart city project. Traditional leaders are also crucial in resolving any land claims between the municipalities and citizens, because citizens, they have some sense of respect when it comes to traditional leaderships, and they can listen to them when they converse with them. Then the last point we said, involving this leadership should foster community engagement and resolve conflicts that may affect success of the smart city project. So these findings may assist government officials and decision makers in developing policies that ensures respect for traditional leaders and their regulation bodies, as well as collaboration with them. Then after that, we identified some limitation of this study. This study employed a qualitative approach. Then we saw that as a limitation. Then future studies, they can employ a quantitative approach that they can use to confirm or support the results. Furthermore, future studies may conduct comparative analysis with a case study from other regions or countries to enrich the findings of this study. Thank you. And that's all from me. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Oh, I have the one comment. Wait a minute, please. So in Japanese proverb, the who says it is more important that what is said. So I think this is the same situation based on your research, I think. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hence, I'm saying this study, it can be expanded by including other countries in order to see if it can improve this study. So thank you.
Interesting. Thank you very much. This session finished. So go to go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I sincerely thank our authors for their excellent presentations and contribution in this session, and all our participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough. We, on behalf of the whole team, thank you for the support during this 8th version and all the previous 7 versions of the conference. We will be happy to have you in the 9th version in 2025. All the presenters will be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. Further, all the papers have been already forwarded to the Springer. The publication will be live within 6 months. Kindly cooperate with the team of WS4 2024. I'd also like to thank our session chairs, Professor Meenakshi Samadhara for chairing the session, a token to chair on behalf of Team WS4 2024 and Global Knowledge Research Foundation. Thank you for your valuable presence, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank our session chair, Professor Kunihiko Tikamatsu, for chairing the session, a token of appreciation to the chair on behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation.
Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable presence, sir. Before we end the session, I would like for everyone to turn on their cameras for a quick snapshot of the virtual conference. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and take care.